Hello, everyone. I'm Joe McGovern, awards reporter at TheWrap. We are happy to have you here for our 2021 Awards and International Screening Series. Today, we are excited to bring you QUO VADIS AIDA, which is Bosnia's best international feature entry this year. We are going to show you the trailer for the movie, and then we'll go right into a conversation with director Jasmila Zbanic. To our audience, please participate in the live chat of the stream and share your thoughts about the film, and do let us know where everyone is tuning in from. And now, before we introduce our guest, here is the trailer for QUO VADIS AIDA.
As I said, they have been issued an ultimatum. Aircrafts are on standby and ready to launch an attack on all positions held by the Republika Srpska army.
Evo nas 11. jula 1995. godine u Srpskoj Srebrenici. Poklanjamo srpskom narodu ovaj grad.
Ljudi, baza je puna. Niko više ne može ući u bazu. Svidio moje. Tarik, svidio moje.
Nema potrebe da ginuš. Ni vaš muž, ni vaša braća, ni vaši komšije. Get uniform.
Pa s kim ratujemo 4 godine, jebem vam majku vam jebem. S kim? Sve civili.
Za vaš opstanak tražim da svi vaši muškarci pod oružjem predaju oružje vojsci Republike Srpske.
Samo bez panike i propustite malu djecu i žene.
To mi svoj plan napravio dama.
Ljudi idu tamo gdje je bezbjedno, to smo se dogovorili. Zeiden dat we de cijfers niet moesten opnaaien.
Start leaving the base in an orderly fashion.
What is the point of having an ultimatum if you don't deliver?
Da su me možeš mi povesti moje sinove iz baze.
I da ubiće i Srbi ako im nađu. Ubiće i mene.
Colonel Karamans, they are killing people outside. What difference does it make whether the Serbs kill us or you do?
Welcome back. It is my pleasure to introduce director Jasmila Zbanic.
Hello, good evening.
So nice to see you. Thank you for joining us here. And congratulations on this film, this very powerful and very thoughtful film. Before we begin talking about the film, I was wondering maybe if you could help to put the historical event in context. I mean, it was 25 years ago. Many people don't know about it, unfortunately, but this film is doing quite an incredible job of informing us. You were Bosnian, born in Sarajevo, and I guess would have been probably about a teenager or so, maybe late teens, when the events occurred in July of '95. So perhaps can you describe the events and also your experience of them living in the country?
Yeah. So I was 17 when war started, and it started suddenly, you know, we didn't expect it. And it reminded me a little bit on what happened in US on Wednesday when people were just going and destroying democracy. It's just from one day to another day, something completely unimaginable happened. And this is where I realized, okay, this is serious and it's going to be more serious. And actually it ended up in a complete genocide, which happened in '95. I tried as a filmmaker to enter this, you know, to make the entrance of the story for people who don't know anything about it easier, in a way that I'm talking about one person and her struggle to keep her family in these terrible circumstances. So it's not crucial to know what happened, except that there is a situation of war, that normal people are in these unnormal circumstances, are always suffering, and you can't be normal in a war. So I'm showing how the humanity is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking in these circumstances. It happens in Bosnia, but I think, even the genocide happened 25 years ago. It is talking about world pay. And I would not go into details of historical facts, but what happened there was that 8,372 Muslim men were killed just because of their names.
Yes, but notably, this happened literally right outside of a UN peacekeeper safe camp, which is why I think, you mentioned before, and we don't need to dwell on this, but you were referring to last Wednesday, meaning the storming of the Capitol in DC, which also happened right in front of the police, and was very politically influenced, as this was. To a great degree.
Yeah, exactly. The United Nations promised us Bosnians to keep us safe. And what happened is that because of political interest as well in the UN, because of the orders from the political structures, they just gave up on protecting people. Under the resolution of UN, which was, I think, 819, UN was supposed to even protect with guns. And now, after all analysis are finished, it's clear that UN commanders and soldiers did not fire a single bullet to protect all these people. And, I remember this day when Srebrenica happened, and it was such a shock to realize that the world, all nations, United Nations, cannot guarantee us security. And this was so shocking. At that time, we didn't know how many people got killed, but just the fact that there was a promise that United Nations will protect us was really horrible to understand. No, they just gave up. And this film is not against UN. It's on the contrary. It's for building up our democratic institutions even better, that we are not, that they are not influenced by certain political interests, that their interest is always human rights and democracy. And this film shows what happens if we are not careful enough, if we just let it go.
I want to ask, once you had decided, you had made 4 feature films, and I guess within the last 5 years, perhaps this was always on your mind, but you started on this journey to really dramatize this event. Did the work of, I know a French journalist named Florence Hartman has written about this. There have been a few other really good books written about the events and the UN response or non-response to them. What did you do? A lot of interviews, a lot of reading? Did you just sort of immerse yourself in all that you could?
Yes, this was a really long process, because as a Bosnian, I'm very attached to the subject, and I think I know a lot about it because we live in these circumstances every day. But I really had to read a lot and to talk to a lot of survivors and to take all perspectives in mind, because as a Bosnian, you can sometimes believe, okay, this what happened was just black and white. There were bad guys and good guys, but it's more complicated. And I wanted to show all these complexities. That's why I really spent a lot of time in researching. And then after one version of the script was done, I realized I put so much of my personal anger, and film cannot be about that. Film has its own rules, and it has its own dynamic and rhythm. So I had to get rid of this emotions in order to be emotional, in order to allow audience to get in the film and decide for themselves how they are going to see the film, and with whom they will be through the whole film.
The character as a as a composite figure.
Yes.
I mean, she's a UN interpreter.
Yes. So my idea was that I want to show this film through female perspective, and I wanted to show her as somebody who is between two worlds. She's a UN interpreter, so she works for UN and knows more than other Bosnians and other people in the camp. But on the other hand, she doesn't have the same privilege like foreigners, like people who are in UN Dutch structure. So I wanted to show this bureaucracy of war, which is rarely shown in the films. And for me as a woman, and maybe the person who survived the war, war has nothing attractive. It's always like what Hannah Arendt said, banality of evil. And this banality I wanted to show. So with my camera woman, Christine Meyer, we decided that we will always have perspective of human beings, and always show what is not spectacular. You know, we didn't want to give pleasure of watching violence or you know, the brutality. We think audience is intelligent enough to imagine what is unimaginable.
Your film is incredibly tense as an experience, and it's devastating. However, as you just remarked, so much of the atrocity happens off screen, sometimes very close to what our perspective is. And I think it's all the more powerful for doing so. I mean, there's been a discussion since war started. There's been discussion about how to depict war, but we are getting the perspective of AIDA, who is aware how close this is all happening to this. Can you talk, before we talk about the actors, which we need to, I just want to follow up on what you just said about your cinematographer, Christine Meyer. We've been accustomed as audiences to war films. Everything is real shaky, handheld camera. You know, that's how the chaos of war is depicted. And you and Christine shows a somewhat different approach here. Can you talk through maybe the earliest stages of your conversations, how to film this?
Yes, because Bosnian War and many other wars after were shown on TV. They were present in people's houses. Everybody saw some images of war, or this war, or some kind of like this war. We wanted to find a part of people's brains and hearts which is not occupied by images that people already know. So we didn't want to have this usual kind of documentary camera to fake it is real. We really wanted to be real in emotions, but to have very controlled the images that are not usual for war films, in order to hopefully get in people's imagination or people's brain and eyes and hearts through a different path. That was our decision from very beginning. And also for us was very important to show people's faces, because for me, you know, the main soul of the film is human beings. And we were really choosing very carefully extras, each extra, and all of them have history behind these faces. And I wanted to show that as well. Mentioning extras, I just want to say a lot of people still remember war. These people who were there, they were authentic in a sense that once there was one scene where an actor came in this uniform and started yelling at people, and we had two women who had almost breakdown because they were kids when they were in concentration camps in Bosnia, and they had this trigger, and for them it was too real. So we were dealing with film set, but on the same level we were dealing with Bosnian reality, because this is where we live, and it's more than film for us.
Yeah.
Also, there was one scene where we would ask, I asked men to go into the truck, and one guy said, this is not the way they took us to the trucks from this concentration camp to the other locations. And I was really like, wow, how did they do it? Please show me. And he showed me how they did it, you know, with hands like this. And this is when I said, okay, please do it this way. So we were dealing always with these emotions that it's not just fiction, it's our life.
How did you film this though? I mean, there is a scene early on where AIDA goes onto a small rooftop. She's a few meters off the ground, and she can get a full perspective of the 20,000 people who were outside the UN camp. Did you build the camp somewhere? Did you find an existing location? It's extraordinary.
Yeah, we were not allowed to film in Srebrenica, where the story was taking place, but because their mayor of Srebrenica still denies that genocide happened.
Yeah,
he is the one who didn't, you know, allowed us to film there because they still want to cover crimes. They say no, it never happened. So we couldn't shoot there. We were searching for location which looks like this place, and we found location. And when we had these extras, of course, we did multiplications. But the camp itself, yeah, we had to do also. Interior was 1 hour away from exterior, so it was not easy to do it. But we tried to keep. What was important for us, not so much following exactly how it was in reality, but we wanted to show that it used to be a factory. It used to be a factory from socialist time, because Yugoslavia was in socialism. And instead of working now and producing something, there is a production of death. So this is what this feeling we wanted to keep searching for locations.
yes. Let's talk about your lead actress. Remarkable performance, and I guess for a lot of viewers might not have seen her before, but she is very successful, and especially in theater, with her husband, we should mention, who actually also is in the film in a sort of counter role to hers. So just if you can tell us about her, how long you've known her, what was the process of finding this, who could portray AIDA for you?
Yeah, I mean, I worked with Jasna Đuričić. She is a Serbian actress who played in one of my films, For Those Who Can Tell No Tales. Mm-hmm. And she also is playing in other films. I watched her, I followed her amazing theater work. And I immediately, when we started casting, me and David Ibrahimovic, producer, said, okay, this is our AIDA. So we offered her a script, and as I said, as she's Serbian, I didn't know if she wants to be in the film, because in Serbia, genocide is still denied, and people who are playing in these films that are not fitting to official political narrative, these people, actors, artists, really had big problems in Serbia. So offering her script, I offered her also troubles in life. I knew that, she knew that. Also Boris Isakovic, who plays Ratko Mladic, for him was maybe even more dangerous, because Ratko Mladic, war criminal, is considered a hero in Serbia. So
even though we should mention he has been convicted by The Hague.
Yes,
like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, he got life sentence, and he's war criminal. So this, you know, we don't need to discuss about that. But there is an official political narrative which says that he's a hero. So for Boris Isakovic was really big step to say yes to this film, and I find both of them amazing artists and human beings, wonderful actors who not only, you know, have point on world where they said, oh, we are doing films even if it's dangerous for us, and they are doing it with full heart and with all their amazing talent. Really, Jasna and Boris, they are just fantastic actors. Some people compare Jasna to oh my God, Meryl Streep.
I would, yeah, I would definitely do that.
This is this is the one that I love, and I think Jasna deserves this comparison.
I will. I do. Before we go at the end, I do want to ask you a little bit more about the faces. And you mentioned it just earlier, that how important it was to capture these faces. But her face, I mean, she does have dialogue in the film, but we are really carried through the story by her face, more than her words, I think. And I wanted to bring up one scene because it's very special, where we see her finally have she's able to laugh because she smoked a little bit of a cigarette, and for the first time we see a little bit more lightness, and all the bad stuff is still happening, and then you decide to do a brief flashback to a moment of happiness at a party with music and big hair, and there's a sort of a beauty contest. Why was that so important to include that sequence?
Yeah, I always wanted to remind audience that these people were like them, you know, people who have normal life, family, parties, celebrating New Year's Eve, Christmases together, and then suddenly things happened and everything changes. And I was wondering how to do it. So I had several versions of the script where I would start the film with, okay, they had normal life, but then I thought it's too usual. I really wanted to go in a different way and with different emotions into the film. So I thought this would be a moment, because film is tense. I really wanted that there is this tension, and I think this needs to have a little breathing moment, and that was where I thought, okay, she has a moment where she relaxes a little bit. Everybody's sleeping, her family's inside, so it's a big thing for her. And then it's a moment where she remembers how their life was cheerful and normal, like our life is. So this is where I thought, okay, it's good to show all these people who are on different sides of history, the neighbors who are Serbian soldiers or neighbors who are victims, because when things like this happen, you know, it is in families. You know, Bosnia was so mixed with Serbian cousins, Croatian cousins, Muslim cousins. It was a mixture. But when war came, then people were separated. And I want to show how they lived together and how they were cautious. They thought nothing bad can ever happen.
Can you also talk just a bit about the Dutch actor who you cast to play some of the UN people? Some of them are so young. They look like boys, you know, who are standing out there at the gate they're wearing shorts and little tank tops, which is just, again, such, I mean, how could this have happened that these 18-year-old boys basically are trying to defend this safe zone? But did you, was that important to you also, that that Dutch actors be on there as the UN people?
Yes, for me it was very important that we have Dutch producer and Dutch actors. Mm-hmm. And for many Dutch, I think for most of Dutch people, Srebrenica is big trauma. They knew that their commanders did not behave in a way, you know, that they were supposed to be. They were cowards. They didn't protect people. So with all actors that I talked during auditioning, they were saying, I want really to be in the film because it's a very important story for us also. And I read a lot and I met a lot of soldiers who were there in 95, and they still you know, they still have PTSD from Srebrenica. They can't forgive themselves for what happened. They are haunted by this, and many of them were kids. You know, when I started with my research, I thought, okay, these soldiers, big men, they were not doing their stuff. But then I met people who were really kids, completely lost, with no proper training, as you said, in shorts, and thinking, okay, this is a little bit of fun. And then the horrible thing started, and they were not emotionally or psychologically ready for that. So I really felt for many of them that they were lost, and I wanted to show it in a film. So I choose actors who were able to be with this kind of energy.
I want to ask a few questions about the prologue, the end of the film, and with apologies to those who haven't seen it, but for those who have seen it, I think this is very important to hear you talk about. There is a very powerful edit where we, well, I won't even say what we see, but there's a powerful edit, and then the film then fades to white. And we're taken some time into the future where we see a very large room, and it's all women who are walking around and identifying bones that have been exhumed from mass graves. Am I correct that that was shot on the anniversary? You filmed that scene on the anniversary of the events?
Yeah, it happened totally accidentally, because we were not able to calculate when exactly the film will finish, because we had so many actors who were too busy. So we had to make a lot of scheduling, which was absolutely crazy. And then we just realized, yes, we are finishing film on July 11th when it was anniversary. And that scene was very hard for us, because you know, there were all these bodies that we put there. Of course, they were fake bones, but people, all crew, they were whispering out of respect. Somehow, for all of us, it was as if it was real. And I was filming a scene with Jasna, and I said to her, I will not tell you where are the bones, because the point of these identifications are always...
She's looking.
Yeah, that they don't know if they will find their loved ones or not. There is also in the acting, it's always, I told her, because I talked to many people and I was there when the real identifications were happening. I told her, in her acting, she needs to include at the same time hope that she will find bones, and have peace with finding, you know, so finally she found them after so many years, and she can put them in graves. But on the other hand, with these women, it was always hope. Maybe they are alive. Maybe I will not find bodies, and maybe I will find them somewhere. They will call me after all these years. They were hidden somewhere. Somebody rescued them. So for her was, you know, these two things when she was entering this room, and she really didn't know where was it. So we were filming it, and after first take, everybody was crying, you know, behind camera, all people around, because she was so moved when she saw these parts of her family.
And you do film essentially in one take, in one long take, as she's walking the room.
Yes, I had several options in mind, but when we finished this take, I thought, that's it. That this take said everything.
So the take that we see in the film is the first take. It's where Jasna as AIDA finds her loved ones.
Yes, and yes, one and all. I can say almost only, because we started another one and we thought, no, we got all this energy in this one.
How many victims are still unidentified?
1,700 people are still missing, and they are somewhere hidden in mass graves. And mothers like Jasna are still searching for them. And some of them are really living only to find bodies and die. Really, after this 25 years of search, this is their only thing and only wish. The reason why these bodies are still not found 25 years after genocide is the fact that many people were involved in crimes. And if bodies are found, that's a proof, and then they can be sentenced. So very often these mass graves were organized in a way that they would, bury them in one mass grave, and if police finds out, then they would move them to the second and third. And sometimes mothers would find only one bone as a proof, identified through DNA procedure, and not the rest of the body is not found. So when these funerals happened, sometimes in the coffin there is just one bone, because they're of this moving and hiding and all of that. So in this memorial center where these 8,000 people are buried, many bodies are just a few bones.
Yeah. I also want to ask, and I will be vague about the ending, but we talked earlier about the faces, that we see so many extraordinary faces. However, you choose to end your film with the faces of children in a classroom, which is an extraordinary decision. But tell me what led you to that choice.
Yeah, living in Bosnia, which is still country where war criminals are present, even if they are sentenced, many of them were sentenced, to 20 years, and now they are out. They live with their families, and they are there. I'm always wondering, being mother myself, how the future for my kid will be. That's why I put this dance where kids are hiding faces and showing opening view, because I think this is the main thing. Are we going to see what reality is, what the facts are, or we are going to close again our eyes and our hearts? This is a question for generation of my daughter, and in the same time, film gives hope that these kids will not have to have this burden of past, but also warning that with question, are they new soldiers or hopefully not?
I want to congratulate you again on this this really extraordinary piece of drama, and wish you the best. Wish you safe, that you're healthy and safe, and hopefully be here soon when we can all travel again and be around. And congratulations also on, of course, your premiere in Venice, where you did get to actually be there.
Yes,
after quarantine.
We were lucky to have a real premiere with the audience, because as a director you make film for audience, and having reactions of audience is something which pays you back. It gives you warmth in heart. So we were very lucky to have an audience in Venice. And I really, really hope for all of us that we will back in cinema, that we'll be back together, because I think watching films together as a common collective social thing is what gives huge pleasure for all of us, sharing our human experience, knowing each other. Even if we don't have this experience, we give something to each other to help other people's lives.
Well, and just I think that also, as you say, sharing the experience. I can only imagine what it would have been like to. Hopefully, I will see this film with an audience someday. But in those final scenes, as we just talked about, I mean, there must have been a sort of real sense of community sadness, which is important in a way for drama and for learning.
Yeah, I think the power of film is in the fact that we can all feel the same things. We don't know Srebrenica, AIDA, Bosnia maybe, but you know, as me not knowing US so well, but through films, I feel warmth and knowledge about many, many things. And that's why I think we are connected. Films really can make us connected and live together.
Jasmila, thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. It was great to have you all. Be sure to take advantage of free trial at Wrap Pro and be the first to know about upcoming Wrap screenings and events. And you can also check back on our screenings page at screenings.TheWrap.com as well.